Okay, today we'll be discussing about index time field extraction in Splunk. Okay, so if you remember from my previous video, we talked about search time field extraction process, right? Where we talked about lot of props.conf and transform.conf different settings to determine the search time field extraction process. So in this particular video, we'll be mainly concentrating on the right hand part of this particular diagram, where we will be discussing about the index time field extraction process. And if you also remember from my previous video, we said that Splunk generally recommends the search time field extraction only whenever possible. Okay, so that means we need to know in what kind of scenario we should be using index time field extraction compared to search time field extraction. Okay, so the scenario is like, suppose you have a very large number of event in your index. Okay, and you are searching with some expression like some field name equals to 1, let's say company id equals to 1. Okay, but your most of the events are not having company id equals to 1. Maybe among those 1 million events, only 10 events has company id equals to 1. Okay, in that case, when you search company id equals to 1, Splunk has to go through all the events to match this company id which with the value equals to 1, right? So that actually slows down the search. So this is the perfect scenario for index time field extraction already. Okay, now it could be another thing, like if you are searching for company id not equals to 1, right? So in that case, and also your events, most of the events do not have company id, have company id equals to 1. Okay, this is the opposite scenario of this one. Again, in this case, when you want to use the search time field extraction, Splunk again have to look through all this large number of events to determine which event do not have company id equals to 1, right? So these two are the best scenario in which we can apply Splunk index time field extraction. Okay, so in this video we'll be mainly discussing about the configurations we can do in transform.conf and props.conf to um, for index time field extraction, and we'll see how index time field extraction happens. Mainly we'll be discussing about this settings called regex, format, match limit, look ahead. Okay, we'll see one by one. Now, to save time and complexity, what I have done is actually for all the different demos. Okay, so I have created a props.conf entry. So today we'll be mainly seeing 12 to 13 demos. Okay, and their corresponding transform.conf entry as well. Okay, so what we'll do is we will try to analyze this configurations. Okay, and then we will see how Splunk behaves when some configuration changes. Okay, so for that, what I am doing is I'm going to my Splunk Enterprise. Now the first configuration we will be seeing it today is called regex. Okay, now if I just go to our mind map, okay, so the regex is a transform.conf settings. Okay, now before we discuss regex, so if you remember from my previous video, when we will do the field extraction, right? So when we are doing the search time field extraction, we are using either extract or report class, right? For and their corresponding transform.conf stanza for field extraction. And when we use this extract and report, we used the regex for to break that event, right? Similarly, or basically not breaking the event, from to extract fields from that particular event, right? Now similarly, for index time field extraction, the class name is transforms. So it is having similar structure. Transforms is the keyword, then dash, then the class name. Here you can give any class name, any name you can give, but we try to give some meaningful name over here. Okay, and then a stanza name, which is basically a transforms.conf stanza name. So if we are using this particular settings, then we have to rely on transform.conf. Okay, and in the transform.conf we can give regex format these things with this particular transforms class. Okay, so let's see how we can define, but before that let me show you the data. So if you remember from my previous video as well, so we used data3. So I just kept that data3 file name as it is so that we can relate to it. So it's a, if you see, it's a XML data, right? So where we have lot of messages tag. So these are where my single event resides. Okay, between this messages tag, and when we were doing the search time field extraction, we were actually extracting this fields, right? The thread value, the message key value, this string name, and the message value. Okay, the thread value, this field we are extracting at the search time. Now this fields will be extracting at the index time. Okay, similar concept. So I just keep the same data so that we can compare it. Okay, now apart from that, I just made a slightly modified data3 file. We just included dummy card number over here. There are some use cases in index time field extraction. It's very much specific to index time field extraction only. We will see that those use cases. So for that, this data will be required. Okay, so if I just show you the regex. Okay, so we have our regex101.com. So if I just copy a single event, okay, we'll just copy it here. So when we'll discuss our regex, we'll see how the regex is extracting field over here. Okay, so the first demo we'll be talking about demo 1, right? So where we have, if you remember from my previous video, these settings I have kept unchanged. That means this is how the event line breaking is happening. So if you are not sure about how this is, please check out my event line breaking video. I have discussed the same file over there as well. Okay, with all these settings. Okay, so let us consider. So our event line break happens, then the transforms. If you see the transforms I have added over here, I have given a class name called demo extraction. So it is basically having a transform.conf stanza name XML extraction, right? So if I go to XML extraction stanza over here, so I have given three things over here. So at the basics, when you use transforms configuration in props.conf for index time field extraction, okay, at its very basic you need three things: regex, format, and the write meta. Okay, write meta equals to true you have to give for index time field extraction only, so that it will write it to the metadata. Okay, so that you will see those fields will be extracted when the index time only. Okay, so now regex, I have given this regex. So let's copy this regex. I have discussed this same regex in my previous video as well. I'll be giving that video link in this video as well. So if I just copy this particular regex, okay. So if you see, I am extracting four field here: thread field, okay, from a single event; location field; message key class field; message key value field, okay, and the message field. Okay, five fields over here, okay, from each event. Okay, now if you are also not sure about how this regex works, I have created a lot of regex videos. Please look out that for that one as well. Now format, even in my previous video also we have discussed the format. So what basically format does, so in the format basically you give two things: in the left hand side of this double colon and the right hand side of this double colon. Okay, the left hand side determines the field name, okay, and the right hand side determines the regular expression occurrence. That means $1 means first occurrence. As if I go to our regular expression window over here, as my first regular expression is this one, right? If you see it over here, it is capturing the thread field value, right? So that is what I am telling it over here. So whatever first you are capturing, put it as a value of the thread field. Similarly, location is my second capturing regex, right? So I'll be putting it as a location field. Similarly for message class, message key value and message field. Okay. So now, and right underscore meta equals to true. So let us see how Splunk behaves with these settings. Okay. We'll see an interesting stuff over here. So I'll go to settings and add data. I'll click on upload. I'll choose my data3 file over here. Okay. I'll click on next. Now from here, if you see, currently it is the whole raw event, no line breaking happened. So I'll be selecting my source type, this one, the source type in the props.conf, the stanza name demo. As you remember from my props.conf basics video, the stanza name of the props.conf file, if you are not mentioning the host and source, specifically mentioning that keywords, so by default it shows, it's basically tells that it is the source type name, right? So that is the source type we'll be selecting from here, called demo. Okay, so if I select the demo, if you see it over here, some interesting things are happening. If I show you over here, first of all, the event line breaking is happening. It is breaking this whole raw chunk data into 4 events, right? And also if you see, it's also extracted this field. See, currently our indexing is still not done, right? Because we are still in the wizard itself, but it's already extracted the location field, message key class field and message key value field. So this is the basic difference between a index time field extraction and a search time field extraction. In the search time field extraction, until and unless we are running a search, the field extraction not happened. But if you see over here, this is extracting field while it is indexing. Okay, that's why it is called index time field extraction. Okay, so just to show you, it is extracting field. So I'll just click on next. Okay, I'll keep my main index as default index. Okay, I'll click on review. I'll click on submit. If I see this start searching, so if you see, those fields has been created over here. Okay, but it was created during the index time. Okay, so in next demos we'll may not be indexing the full data. I just wanted to show you like those index time field extractions fields are persistent over here as well, so I just indexed it. Okay, so let us delete this data. Okay, so again let's go to add data itself. So we saw how the transforms stanza works, like this particular settings works with the transforms.conf settings. Okay, with regex, format and write meta. So 3 settings we have discussed over here. Okay, let's move on. So first we will cover all the settings related to transform.conf. Okay, then again we will move to props.conf. Now the next settings we will be discussing about, called ingest underscore eval. Okay, now if you remember from any Splunk search, right, you can create lot of eval statement, right, new fields by using a eval statement, right? So similar kind of stuff you can do in the while you are doing the index time field extraction as well. Okay, using this particular settings called ingest underscore eval. But over here couple of things you have to remember. Over here you cannot use all the fields, okay, because if you see here I am using the same regex over here, right, same formatting and write meta. So this particular fields like thread, locations, my class, my value, it's still not indexed. So over here we can only use those fields which are indexed. Okay, you have to remember this one. And also there are certain fields, if I just go to transform.conf documentation, so there are certain fields called underscore raw, underscore meta, underscore time, which Splunk creates before or automatically when it annotates the event, like metadata host, metadata index, right? So this kind of fields you can use it over there as well. Okay, so you have to remember this one. So now let's go back over there. So the how this is works, index underscore eval equals to, you similarly as our eval statement, you give a field name, okay, and you give a eval statement here, right? So over here I am using a if clause. I'm saying if my underscore raw is something like backup, if I just show you over here, there are a lot of backup fields here. I think backup keywords here. Okay, so if it is backup, then it's just some dummy name backup start, otherwise do not give any name over here. So let's see how XML extraction 1 works. Now this is a transform.conf stanza, so that means in my props.conf, this is my XML extraction 1 we are using. If you see, these both are same in terms of props.conf settings. There is no change over here. We are still using the transforms, then the transforms class settings. Okay, but only thing is that my props.conf, the source type I'll be using now demo 1. Okay, so let's see. So again, I am in settings, add data page. I'll click on upload. I'll select my data3 file. I'll click on next. So I'll be choosing demo 1 now. Okay, so now see over here, it created a new field called event underscore category. As I think almost all my event have this backup as a keyword. Okay, that's why event category field has been created as a backup start. Okay, so this is how you can use eval like statements, okay, while you are doing the index time field extraction. Okay, so let's move on to a next demo, XML extraction 8. Okay, so don't worry about this name, because when I was doing the POC, so this idea came long after I was doing the other stuff, so that's why I just don't want to lose this particular sequence, so that's why I just given this name. So let's see how this particular regex works first. Okay, so if I just copy this regex over here. Okay, so if you see, as I told you, I just included a dummy card number in each and every event, even though it is not related to any of this one. I just kept it because I want to show you that one. So it is just extracting the card number over here. If you see the whole card number, just like credit card number. Okay, now let's go back over here. Okay, so my regex, I am now only doing extracting a card number. That's why in the format I've just given a field name called card underscore number and the regex, the first one. Okay, first occurrence of the regex. Okay, right meta equals to true, as we discussed already. Now we'll be discussing about the look ahead. Look ahead means, if you give look ahead, actually takes some number. Okay, if you give any number, so that means look ahead, the Splunk will take that particular number as the event size, total event size. It will not look beyond that one for this particular regular expression. Okay, so now if I just take this guy, okay, copy it and paste it in a notepad. Okay, view, I remove the word wrap. Okay, my card number is actually coming as, if you see, column number 427, right? So if I just give look ahead equals to 400, way below this number, okay, what will happen? And I am giving my regular expression here, right, to extract the card number. So it will basically fail over there, because this particular regex will not be able to extract the card number over here. Let us see this first. So I'm going to add data. So we are in add data window again, right? So I'll just go back and next. So this time I'll be choosing, so XML extraction 8 I have used. XML extraction 8 I am using as a demo 11. Okay, so I'll be choosing demo 11 here. Okay, if you see, the regex now did not extracted that particular field, it failed over there. Okay, so now in the next one, XML extraction 10, I am giving the proper look ahead 447. Okay, now let's see how it is doing. So XML extraction 10 I am using here, demo 13. So if I just choose demo 13, now if you see the card number, it is able to extract it. So this is the working functionality of look ahead. Okay, so whatever regular expression you are using, so if we just give look ahead, that means Splunk will only consider till that point to search for that particular regular expression. Okay, so let's move on. We talked about look ahead. Now there is some other settings of ingest eval. Let us discuss that. Okay, so the first use case of ingest eval we have seen is like create a new field, just like eval like field, right? Now if you see this one, if you want to create multiple fields, you just need to give it as a comma separated one. Okay, now if you see it over here, I have given event category equals to the same thing, underscore raw equals to backup, then backup start. Then I have given eval category equals to eval category. Then I am appending some string over here. Okay. So my basic intention over here is to create a single field called event underscore category with this backup start, then appending with the some string. Okay. Now if you see, this is some kind of eval chain. If you remember from my eval video, we discussed about eval chain, right? So this is the same thing over here, right? So my intention is to create a single field. Now let's see how Splunk is behaving over here. So XML extraction 2. So XML extraction 2 I have used here, demo 2. Okay, so same data I have, so demo 2. Now if you see, it's creating basically a multi-value field. Now how I will know? Because there is a multiple entry over here, event underscore category, one with just the backup start, another with backup start, then some string. So let us see how ultimately Splunk is creating. I'll be clicking on next. Okay, I'll be choosing my main index. I'll be clicking on review, submit. Okay, start searching. Now if I just see the event category field, okay, I'll just table it. I just copy the name, event underscore category, right? So if you see, for all events, it's a multi-value field if it has created, right? Now if your intention is not to create a multi-value field, which is in this case for ours, okay, because we want to create a single field over here. Okay, so in that case, what you need to do is, instead of equals to, you have to use colon equals to. So, okay, so this particular extraction is same as extraction 2. Only difference is that instead of equals to, I have used colon equals to. Okay, so in this case, Splunk will create a single field. First, it will create this event category field with as a backup start. Then it will override that event category field with backup start, then some string. So let us see XML extraction 3. So 3 is my demo 3. So if I just remove this data, okay, again I'm going to settings, add data, upload, select file, data 3, open, next. I'll be choosing demo 3 here, right? So now if you see, it is creating a single entry over here, backup start something. Okay, so this is how colon equals to works. Okay, so ingest eval, this is another use case of ingest eval. Now let us see view. I'll just make this a word wrap. Okay, so we talked about this guy over here, right? XML extraction 3, XML extraction 4 we are talking about now. So similarly I have my event category, backup start. So now also I am trying to create a multi-value fields, MV fields over here. Okay, so that's why I have not given colon equals to over here. Okay, so now let's say I want to create a new field called MV underscore field. Okay, with MV join. Now if you remember what MV join do, whatever the multi-value fields are there, like for a particular multi-value fields, whatever it has values, it's basically create a new field, okay, with comma separated one, whatever you are giving it over here. So if you are not sure about how MV join works, I have created a separate video for MV field related functions. Okay, please check out that one. Okay, so now let's see how Splunk behaves in this case. Okay, so there is another behavior Splunk has it over here. So XML extraction 4. So XML extraction 4 we have demo 4. So demo 4. If you see it over here, the MV field value has only a single value over here. So that means my MV join failed, is it? But internally it is a event category is a MV field, right? As I've shown you before, right? So that means somewhere this MV join is picking up only the first value of this particular MV field over here. Okay, so to overcome this one, so basically we have to tell Splunk, that means Splunk is basically treating this guy as a single value field when we are trying to use it as a multi-value field. Okay, so that means we have to tell Splunk to treat this particular guy event underscore category as a multi-value field. Okay, so to do that, what we need to do is we are moving to XML extraction 5. Okay, we have to tell Splunk, this is the way to tell Splunk that my event underscore category is a multi-value field. How? We have to append MV colon, okay, within this dollar sign. Okay, so if we do this one, then MV join works as expected. So let us see how it is working. XML extraction 5, that means we are moving to demo 5. Demo 5. Okay, so now if you see, the MV field has corresponding both of these value as a comma separated. Okay, so this is how it works. This is how we can treat the multi-value fields as well while we are indexing, and we are getting eval fields. Okay, index time. Let's move on to XML extraction 6. Okay, so this is the one. This particular 6 and 7 are basically related to when you are creating an eval field, right? Index time, you can mention that particular field type as well. Okay, so suppose I am creating a new field called event underscore length, okay, which is just the length of the raw data. Okay, you can give something like this. After event underscore length field name, you can give within the square bracket the type of the field, either it's a integer, float, that one you can give. Okay, then Splunk automatically creates those type of fields over there as an interesting field. If you remember, these things are important when if I just index this particular data, I'll just show you over here. Okay, if you remember, interesting field, this a and hash Splunk creates for numeric field value or string field value, right? So this you can govern using this particular settings. Okay, so as it is length, so Splunk will automatically detect, so I'll just not go ahead and demo it, but this is the main purpose of this two extractions, 6 and 7. Okay, so to go back to our previous state, I'll just delete the data. Okay, I'll go to settings, add data again. Okay, let us see. Now MV extraction, we are moving to multiple value extraction from the event. Okay, so now if you remember from my previous video when we talked about search time field extraction, right? When we have, let me show you the file first. So if you remember, we worked with this kind of file, data MVS extraction, where we have key value is multiple times we have key values, right? This particular field key is coming multiple times in my event. Similarly, the text field also coming multiple times in the event, right? So we used mv underscore add to extract multi-value field. So our intention is to extract this key as a multi-value field, not separate field. Similarly, text, right? So we used this mv underscore add true or false over there with some other settings, right? So in index time field extraction scenario, that is repeat underscore match. Okay, so we are moving to repeat underscore match. So before we see the repeat underscore match, let's see how by default Splunk is working. So if I just copy this guy, we have a single event over here. So I'll just copy this event here. Okay, and we will copy the regular expression here. Okay, now if you see, I'm just only extracting all the key and text values. Okay, key value and text values. Now if you see here in the format, I have given two regex over here. As I said, the left hand side of this double colon always extract the field name. Here I am extracting the field name as well with regular expression. That's why the first occurrence of the regular expression. Okay, similarly second occurrence of the regular expression should extract the value. Okay, so now if you see over here, I have not given repeat underscore match. Let's see how it's working. So we have mv underscore extraction. So what is my props.conf? Okay, so this is my demo 9. If you see in terms of props.conf, we are still discussing the transforms. Okay, we have not discussed any other props.conf settings till now. Okay, so demo 9. In this case, we have a separate file. So I upload, select file. I'll choose data mv extraction file. Just now we have seen it. I'll click on next. Okay, so I'll select the source type demo 9. Okay, so now if you see, it is only extracting the first occurrence of the regular expression, because according to this guy, this particular transformation, I am saying the first occurrence of the regular expression should be my field name, second occurrence should be my field value. So that is what Splunk is doing as well over here. Okay, it's only extracting key equals to 1. It does not know about anything else. Okay, so it is also matching with this guy over here, the first capturing group over here, match 1, right? So if I want to extract all of them, I have to use this repeat underscore match equals to true. So in this case, what will happen? Splunk will run this particular regular expression repeatedly, okay, until and unless it is finding all the matches. Okay, so it will start from the place where it finds the first match, then it will start from that position itself. Okay, so let's see how it's working. So in this case, I have mv extraction 1. mv extraction 1 is my demo 10. So if I just go over here, select demo 10 from here. Okay, now if you see, all my key and text values are getting extracted index time. Okay, so this is how the repeat match works. Okay, and it's very much similar to mv underscore add settings for my search time field extraction. Okay, now let's move on. Let's talk about the last one of the transform.conf is called clone source type. Okay, so this is very interesting settings in transform.conf. So if I give clone source type equals to a source type name, any name you can give it over here, any source type name you can give it over here. So what Splunk do is basically, if I just XML extraction 9 is for my, let me copy that. Okay, it's my demo 12. Okay, so let's see. So in this case, I think my file is still, we are going back again, going back to data 3 file. Okay, now as demo 12 is extracting on this one, right? So demo 12, we'll see behavior first, then we'll discuss. Now if you see it over here, I have a transform called XML extraction 9. Over there I have our normal regular expressions, which is basically breaking the event and formatting it. Write meta equals to true. One thing I have given is clone source type equals to a source type name. Okay, and if you see it over here, what Splunk does it, previously if you remember, I have only 4 events. Now it has created 8 events. That means for each and every event, when you have a clone source type equals source type name, Splunk creates a new event, copy that particular event, creates a new event, and then on that new event, okay, it applies the transform. Okay, now why we need this? If you come across a situation where, let's say, when we do a credit card transaction, right? So sometimes it may happen that in our system we have to keep that particular credit card data, full credit card data, before masking it, okay, to, for let's say 7 days, okay, and then after 7 days we can mask it, okay. Or it can happen, it may happen that I have a single event, okay, which I need to send it to two different system, okay, in two different way. One is without masking the data, another is with masking the data, okay. So in this case, this clone source type comes very handy over here, right? So the transform you can apply on the cloned source type, okay. So if I just go to see it over here, so this transform, if I just index the data, we will come to know, okay. So okay, now before I index the data, if you see, I have given a new source type name over here, right? So I have created another stanza in props.conf, okay, which is basically a SEDCMD settings, which we'll be discussing very shortly from now, okay, which it is basically using for, we you can use to transform the data before we index it, like just like credit card data transformation, like. So if I just show you the data over here, so the card data, if you see it over here, it is coming as XXXX, only the last 4 digit is visible over here, okay. So now the transform has been applied to the new copied event. So if I just click on next, review, submit, okay, start searching, if I just give index equals to main, okay, if you see, I have two source type now, new source type and demo 2, demo 12, right? And if I just only see the new source type, my cards are already my cards numbers are already modified, right? Masked, already done, masking already done, okay. And if you see, it's also the transforms, like the regular expression transform applied over here as well, like the location, message key class already extracted as per the regular expression, right? If I just select the other source type, source type equals to demo 12, okay, here if you can see, my all the cards numbers are there in their pure format, right? And also there is no field extraction happened over here, because if you use this particular settings, the transform will be applied only to the copied event. You have to remember this one, okay, not to the actual event, okay. So this is the basic fundamental nature of clone source type and their use cases, okay. So let's move on. I think we almost discussed most of the settings, all the settings in transform.conf. So let's move on to the props.conf. So I think the next big settings we are talking about in props.conf's perspective is the SEDCMD, the data masking, right? So if you have heard lot of times different problem statement like how I can mask the data before I index the data into Splunk, right? So this is how you do it. So this is the settings name SEDCMD, okay. And similarly, after a dash you can give any class name over here, and then you have to give a sed expression over here. If you saw my video on rex function, regular expression functions, over there I have discussed this sed expressions very extensively. Okay, so what it is doing basically, it is searching for this particular pattern. That means I have 4 digit then a dash, it's repeating 3 times, okay, that I am replacing with the xxxx. Okay, so this is the regular expression it is finding to the data, and this is the basically the replacement string. Okay, and G means we will be replacing globally. That means whatever occurrences we have, all the occurrences will be replaced. Okay, so if I, and as you already saw it over here when we actually discuss the new source type, so that settings has been applied over there only. So new source type, so the card number is already masked over there, right? So this is the use case of this particular things. It can be applied to any other thing, any other data masking things only. Okay, so let me go back to my discussion thing if I missed anything or not. So we almost discussed everything. So match limit, let's talk about. So match limit, I think we already saw in my previous video for search time field extraction. It has having the same meaning as well. It is for the regular expression engine basically. Okay, what will be the total match limit and total depth limit? That means how many times the regular expression engine will call that match function. Okay, so generally we do not change these things until unless it is too much it's actually needed. Mm, Apart from that, there are certain settings called default value you give when your regular expression, let's say, fails. In that case you can give default value. So Splunk will create the field with this particular default value. And source keys, like over here we are applying regex, right? On the by default we are applying on the underscore raw field, right? So with source key you can define another field. Let's say you have already one field which already indexed, right? So you can give that field name to extract some more data, more another field from that particular field. So in that case source field comes, the source underscore key comes very handy over here. Okay, so I think we discussed all of the stuffs over here. Okay, hopefully this will be helpful for you guys. See you in next video.